All right, we're live now. Hello, everyone. I'm Elliot from Matherspolitico, and today we've got a very special guest. It is CEO of Flora Fauna, the world's largest vegan store, a Remedista's Women to Watch Innovation Award in 2017, and the #1 person in top 50 e-commerce in Australia for 2019. And of course, a full-time mum, and my auntie, Julie Mathers, is with us today. Any opening statements would you like to open with?
Oh, thanks for having me, Elliot. What can I say? It's a Saturday. I'm having a nice day, and it's awesome to be here. And good on you for doing this podcast as well.
Thank you. Well, it's good to. You're a great mind to have on. We need to extract some great information from you today. So of course, first things first. It takes a lot of guts to start up an independent business that goes against the grain and becomes the largest vegan store in the world. What was the defining experience in your lifetime that put you in that direction to create the Flora and Fauna we see today?
Good question. Liking it. Okay. So I've worked in retail for a very, very, very long time now. I know I look 21, but I'm not. So I've been doing it for 28 years, give and take, from when I first started at school, working at the bakery. And I absolutely love retail. But the thing that really got my goat over the years was just how irresponsible retailers are when it comes to things like packaging, waste, how products are made, where products are made, what they're made of, all of those things. And we've been in a real society of just selling stuff. Everything's really commoditized, and I just went, I think we can do retail better. So, and I kind of got to the point where I was kind of getting towards 40, and I was like, look, I either stay working for someone else and just try and influence from the inside, because I've worked for, as you know, I've worked for both Coles and Woolies. So I either stay doing that and try and influence from the inside, or I go and create that better business myself. And I decided, come on, Julie, you only have one life. This is it. If you're going to do it now. And I'm a big believer of don't have any regrets. And I thought, come on, don't have any regrets. Go and do this and go and create that better business. And that's really what kind of spurred me on. You know, and there's other things that go into play along the way as well, in terms of shopping and going, where's this product made? And various other stuff too. Like, you know, I'm a massive animal lover, and so I'm really conscious about how animals are treated on this planet and how we're treating the planet in general. So there's so many things that kind of all collided together and made me go, let's do something about it.
Let's do something about it. So, any defining qualities from yourself that you've learned over the years that should be in a business leader like yourself? What would those, name 3 qualities if you can?
Okay, I'll name 3 qualities that I have, because I think everyone leads in very, very different ways, and you can have good leaders who have different kind of sets of skills, if you like, or sets of traits. So for me, I'm very driven, and I'm very focused on the goal of where we need to get to. So I think that's probably one quality I've got. This is like an interview where you're saying to me, what are your 3 best skills? And then, what are your 3 words? Okay, so I'm very driven. I am really honest and upfront and direct, which I think, to be honest, you either love or you hate. That's who I am. I'm really direct with, as you well know, I'm very direct with my feedback, and I'll say it how it is, because I kind of just don't believe in beating around the bush. You've got to get to the point, and because you don't have time as a leader, and particularly as an entrepreneur, to you've got to be nimble and you've got to be quick. So I think that's really important. And then you've really got to, I think, to be a very good leader. And I'm not professing that I'm a very good leader. I'm just saying what I do. I think you've really got to make sure you build a fantastic team around you. And I think that is very, very important, because you can think of an idea on your own, but to deliver it to the scale you want to deliver it to, you can't do that on your own. You need to have a really good team, and you need to recruit people who are better than you at certain things. So those are probably the three things that are consciously on my mind. And I think I'm going to add a fourth. I know you've not asked for it. We're going to add a fourth. The other thing, you can't get, you've got to be quite unemotional, because so much stuff happens, and you can't take it personally. You can't take it to heart, and you can't hang on to it. You've just got to take it, deal with it, and then move on.
Move on. And you're quite adamant of sticking by the words that don't worry about the things you can't control. Is there any, has there been any type of role models, influential figures in your life that have influenced you to show these 3 or 4 qualities that you've just spoken about?
Ooh.
Especially with the determination and just going against the grain and going for it.
So I think 2 people who have massively influenced my life are mum and dad, your grandma and granddad. And they both, as you know, they both have very different qualities. I think one of the things that I do, which I didn't mention, is I work incredibly hard. And I work round the clock. So running your own business is not easy. And I include Tom in this too, because Tom, who for everyone watching is my husband, is an amazing human, and I couldn't do what I'm doing without him. We couldn't do it. We're a team, and we work together. And we will work 7 days a week, and we start work literally as soon as we wake up, and we work through until we go to bed. And you've got to have a quality of hard work and determination and perseverance. And I think I get that from mum and dad. Yeah. And if I think about when I was growing up, my dad he worked 7 days a week, but he's now 73. Hopefully he watches this. He's now 73, still working. And I think he's like working 5 days a week. So I think, and at the same time, mum worked too. So, and she worked, doing the milk round from when I was 4 years of age. So that's all I've ever known. And she worked again, I think like six or 7 days a week. So I've known growing up, 2 parents to work really, really, really hard. And I think that and I've also known, like, mum's, as you well know, is incredibly strong.
Yeah. Fiery character.
Very fiery. And that strength is a strength I have. So I've never thought growing up, we talk about equality a lot, and I've never thought that I couldn't do something because I'm a woman. I have truly believed throughout my entire life that I could do whatever I want to do. And I put that down to mum and dad, because mum and dad never said to me, you can't do anything. They were always my biggest supporters. So I think those 2 people have influenced me more than anyone else.
And going back to how yourself and Tom get up pretty much 7 days a week from the early hours in the morning and straight away get into work, what is that passion, that motivation to consistently keep doing that every day? Because an everyday person gets inspired for a bit, but it's not truly motivated to pursue their goals.
Well, I'm massively purpose driven. So I think if I was, I was thinking about this on my walk earlier today. I think if I was running a business where I was just selling, I'm thinking of something, wine. if I was just selling wine or glasses or something quite transactional, I don't think I'd be as motivated to do that, because it's a very transactional thing. But actually, I'm really motivated by our purpose, and our purpose is to help everyone make better choices. Yeah. That's what we're about. That is the purpose. It's in our office. We've got a huge billboard in our office, and it's on the billboard, and all the values are around it. And that purpose is what drives me. It's the desire to be better.
Desire to be better.
The desire to be better. Like I get really fueled by change. Yeah. So for me, doing something which is kind of like the same old every day doesn't excite me. I don't get particularly excited by that. Yeah. But I get excited by change. So I get excited about innovation, about solving problems, yeah. and so that's what kind of gets me up in the morning, and that's what keeps me going. Because also doing what we do, we are constantly changing things.
Yeah, I think that kind of stems from your education background in Cambridge studying engineering. Is that you're always on the go, you're always solving problems there, and that's probably just try to transform itself into real life, like different industries in the world that you'll be able to help and change and innovate, which is an amazing thing, because history does favor the bold and the ones that are willing to go against the grain, like yourself, with the largest vegan store in the world, which is pretty amazing.
Pretty amazing, isn't it? Pretty amazing. Longest one we know of, anyway. No, you're right.
Has there is there? I know we're talking about Tom, your husband, who's a rock behind you. Do you think that's also a quality that you need to have a powerful somebody to have a strong relationship with to put you in that direction of success for a business?
Yeah, I think it comes down to having that really good team. So, and I know lots of people have said to me, "How can you work with your husband?" And I'm like, "Well, really well. I wouldn't work with anyone else." And I think it's very, very. But I think, particularly as an entrepreneur, as a CEO, it can be a very, very lonely position.
Yeah.
Because you are typically on your own. So you need that strong person, I believe, by your side. And you need skills that complement each other. So
yeah.
With Tom and I, we actually both studied engineering at uni, but we're actually quite different. So Tom is massively process focused, and he's really good. So he runs the operations and the finance, so he's great with that side of stuff. Whereas I'm a little bit more creative in a different way. I'm very focused on our purpose and our goal and buying and product and marketing and all that sort of stuff. So together we work very, very well. But you might not have a Tom. You might not have that person, but you should absolutely make sure you've got a really good team around you and people who you can be very honest with and resilient people. I would say all of my team are very, very resilient.
So basically surround yourselves with people that care for your well-being and that you're pursuing your goals. You want to surround yourself with positive and influential people.
Yeah, and actually that's a very good point, positive. Surround yourself with really good positive people, because I think it's very, very important that, and particularly when you're doing something like we're doing, is you're going at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and you need positive, realistic people. Because that if you have someone who's kind of a bit negative and a bit of a drain, it can really take the wind out of your sails.
Yeah, takes the peep out your step. You know, it doesn't give you that energy to push forward. Has it gone on? But has there been any challenges when setting up Flora Fauna that you'd like to talk about? Any experiences that have made you stronger in the process, but were challenging at the time?
Yeah, all the time. So, I mean, there's so many different things that happen, and they happen along the way. Oh gosh, when we ran out of space, that was a massive challenge. Because we started in effectively our shed, and and we got, which was a great place to start, because when you start a business, the one thing you don't have, unless you have funding, the one thing you don't have is money. So when anyone starts a business, if you start a hobby business at home, you don't have money, so you're kind of putting your own savings into it or whatever else. So for us to be able to start Flora Fauna in the shed was brilliant, because we're not paying rent. So we're not getting overly stressed about having to pay rent each month. And we stayed in the shed for 4 years. So we managed to Like we were bursting at the seams though. And by the end of it, we should have moved out, like honestly, 6 months to a year earlier, but we didn't. But that was a real challenge in terms of finding somewhere new, because we were just growing out. We were just outgrowing the place. So that was a massive challenge. And it was also a cool challenge, because then when we moved and we actually leased somewhere, which is, have you seen it? You saw the place, didn't you?
Yeah, I was been to the place last year when I came to Sydney.
Yeah, you've seen North Wales, yeah. So we released that place, which is much, much bigger. And when you kind of walk into it, and then it's a little bit of a realization, and you go, "Whoa, that's okay." So now I feel like a proper business, and then the whole move as well is a challenge, because you don't want any downtime in your business, but you kind of need to move, and so on and so forth. So there's all little things like that along the way. One of the big things that's a real challenge for any business is when you get bigger, cash becomes even more important, and looking at your cash flow becomes even more important. Because when you're small and you're spending like tens of dollars or $100 of stuff, it's kind of all small money. So if you make a bit of a boob, it's not like a huge risk. But when you're big, if you get your cash flow wrong, that can literally shut your business. And this is why we see so many retailers shutting, and businesses in general shutting now, because they can't pay for their stores or whatever it is. And so, yeah, heaps of them have shut down. So cash it's a constant challenge, because it's a constant balancing act. To make, and as you get bigger, it's just what you play.
It's a lot harder.
Yeah. And then other than that, really, I think it's just, there's things that happen along the way, but they're not, which I guess make you stronger. You'll have those relationships. We have amazing relationships with suppliers and brands that are brilliant. And then you'll have some that aren't as great. But that's no different to when I was working anywhere else. That's just the nature of what we do. Yeah, I'm always massively conscious of cash and what we spend. So every dollar we spend has to give us a return. And I have been in every business I've worked in. One of the things I go and do in any business is look at the P&L and go, okay, what are we spending and where's this money going? Because a lot of businesses get quite fat in terms of expenditure and people and so on and so forth. So I'm always really, really conscious of cash and making sure that, the dollars we spend, like on Facebook or Google or whatever, that they're actually working for us.
So that's probably one of the key business terms, is managing cash flow. You would recommend, if people are looking to start up their own e-commerce, is manage your ins and outs. What's one of the biggest cash flow problems you see retailers are trying to get to that next level make, in terms of what do they spend it on the most?
You can spend it. You'll have every marketeer in the world telling you where to spend your cash, and you can spend it very unwisely. So, and so you've got to be really smart about where you put your cash. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that people will. There's probably two things that people will spend the money on. One is marketing that just doesn't work, because they'll go, and it might be, hey, I'm going to go and give this PR agency however much it is. And it doesn't really work. Doesn't always not work either. We spent some money on PR recently, which was great. Or it could be SEO. SEO is always which for anyone who doesn't know, search engine optimization, which is when you search on Google, where you rank in terms of not paid ads, but just direct listings. You can get every agency under the sun telling you that they can help you with that, and they'll charge you for. And they'll charge you a fortune for it, but there's some really dubious folk out there. So I think that's one that I'd probably just steer clear of as a small business. Just don't bother. Just
don't worry about the marketing guru that's got all the answers.
Yeah, I think if I was a small business now and starting out again, I probably would focus on Instagram and definitely social media. I mean, it's really hard, because when we started in 2014, even then it was hard. But it's got harder now. Like to start on Facebook now, you've got to throw money at it, otherwise you don't get any exposure. And that's the challenge. There's kind of no free marketing anymore. There used to be, and you can do stuff on TikTok and things like that, but that doesn't really drive anybody. It doesn't really drive sales or anything of that nature. You know, we've looked at TikTok, and it's really a brand thing.
Yeah. In terms of Facebook and Instagram, why do you think over the years they've changed? Do you think they're just trying to monopolize the?
Oh, I think they started out as a real community platform, and it was all very organic. Well, you know, watch the Social Network, and then you can see how they started out. But it was very much about building communities, and over the years, you know, most of the posts that you see on Facebook now, I mean, just scroll through the feed. A lot of the posts now that you'll see on Facebook are ads, and it's generating revenue, and that's why they've changed. And then Facebook bought Instagram, and because Instagram, I used to not have any ads at all on it, and now it's quite heavily ad based. Yeah, it isn't totally ad-based though. So, and I think you can do, if you're starting out, you can do a lot more with Instagram, with like Instagram Reels and stories and general feed. So I think that's a better place to start. But yeah, I think it's you know, they're using their platform to generate revenue, which you can kind of understand.
It's just like any business would do the same, wouldn't they, Auntie Julie?
Yeah.
I reckon with Instagram, we've spoken about this before, where you say Instagram is the biggest social media platform in Australia that people use. How do you properly utilize it? Like you mentioned stories, and do you?
So what do we do with it?
Well, what do you do with it?
Okay, so No, this is good. So what we do is, so we have the lovely Justine in my team, who is our social media and marketing guru, and we build out a plan in terms of what we talk about on Facebook and Instagram. And we typically post 2 or 3 times a day in terms of the feed. We do stories as well, and Justine does heaps of stories, and we reshare a lot of content from our customers actually. Which works very well, because it's also really nice to see it, because it kind of makes us
more positive, gives you the fuel.
And you can get a box, and I've got a box next to me because we always have stuff hanging around. You can get a box, that's great. But if you can actually see someone opening that box, or someone showing, like a lot of our customers show their cats in the boxes and stuff like that, or the animals. Which I think is largely our brand, but if you can show that, if you can make it real, I think one of the really important things is to make it real.
Make it real.
Real on Instagram. I think there's been an absolute spate of everybody wanting to make their feeds look beautiful and curated and gorgeous, and I totally get why people do that. We found when we do that, it just doesn't work, because that's not who we are. So I think, if you're a small business, it's very important to know who you are as a brand, and then portray that onto Instagram. So for us, we're really authentic. We're kind of a little bit rough and ready in some ways. We're just authentic. So we're not a curated brand. So let's just put real pictures on Instagram, and that's what we do. So we use it in terms of stories. We've started doing Instagram Reels. And that's too early to tell, to be honest, to see do they work, do they not work. It's a whole different thing. And feeds. And actually something else we have done as well has been Instagram Lives. So which we've done particularly during COVID. So we've had some cool people similar to this. We've had some cool people talking about what they do. So we've had some of our brands, but then we've had people from Share Waste, which is a cool way to like share composting and stuff. And then we've had Simon Toohey, who was one of the MasterChef contestants, who's plant-based. Yeah, so we've had lots of, and it's just a cool thing for us to do and to engage with our audience. And also, especially when you're in lockdown and
you're in Melbourne, especially in lockdown.
It's a tough time down here in Victoria, that's for sure.
Yeah. So you've got to. It's about providing content and interesting and engaging content, and that's how we use the social platforms.
So you try and make it as engaging and relatable as possible for people to understand what your business is about and your purpose. So then eventually it'll lead into the shopping and they'll buy some products, which is actually a very smart marketing ploy, I reckon. Very good.
Yeah, it's about I think really important.
But being genuine at the same time.
Exactly. I think it's really, I always focus on things going, what is our purpose? It's to help people make better choices. And so you've just got to think with every single thing that you do, and this is what we do, you've just got to think with your purpose and your values in mind, whatever they are. Your purpose as a company might be, my purpose is to make the most money possible. Okay, well, at least you have a purpose. Wouldn't be our purpose, but at least you've got a purpose. So just keep that purpose in mind with whatever you are doing.
Yeah, and don't stray too far away from that, because then it will become you'll end up hating your own company. You won't really have that drive for it.
Yeah, and you just become a bit scattergun, I think, if you don't stick to your purpose, because you're not sticking to your core messaging, you're not sticking to what you're about and what you're doing, and then it gets really confusing.
Yeah. So that probably comes back to your laser focus on the purpose at hand, and how have you refined your laser focus? How through your life experiences, where did you get this laser focus from? Because it's quite hard to focus on one task. Like, was it a gradual thing, or were you
born
with it?
Was I born with it? Gosh, I'm not sure about that, but I've always been very determined, and if I have a goal, I like to go and get that goal, whatever it is, and that comes to, I think it's real determination and going, I'm going to do that. So, I've run 8 marathons. That doesn't come without some form of laser focus, and I'm determined to run another one, despite having had 2 children, knee surgery, and a dodgy hip. I'm going to do it.
You're going to do it.
We'll do it. So it's real determination, and I think also it's also not setting yourself up to fail. So for me, with my marathon, it's not going, right, I'm going to go and run the marathon this year in 2 months, because that's stupid, because I'll never do that. So that's just setting myself an unrealistic goal. You've got to set yourself really realistic goals, and then you've got to really work hard to get there. So I think, and I think it's just part of it is just me and who I am, and also the fact that I'm really prepared to put in the hard yards to get there.
Yeah. Well, what's an average day-to-day work cycle for you and Tom? What time do you get up in the morning? What's the go?
Oh my God. Okay, so we get up in the morning at various times. But we've got 2 babies, right? So we're kind of dragged up at some point. So say it's 7 o'clock. Let's say 7 o'clock. Then typically what happens actually is I'll go on a walk, because I like to go and do my walk. That's my me time, and I kind of go on like a walk for an hour and a half and go and do that. And Tom will feed the boys. Then how we work it is one of us will go into the office. So one of us goes into the office and the other one stays at home and looks after the kids, and works. So we're constantly working, but we're just working between feeding children. So one of us goes in the office, stays at home, and then the next day we switch it. And then when we both get home, all children are fed, they're all in bed, then we kind of start our day a little bit. And so often about 6 o'clock at night, we'll start working, and we will work through till it's at least midnight every night. And it is often 2 in the morning. And
And the other weekend, and I do not advise this, but the other weekend, I just got stuck into something work-wise. Now, Tom had gone to bed, and I saw the sunrise, and I just worked through.
Do you ever feel tired?
Oh yeah, shattered all the time. But you just kind of so I don't drink coffee either, which I actually think helps me because I'm kind of not fueled by anything external. I'm just fueled by my internal
determination.
yeah, pretty much. But yeah, that's kind of like, it varies a bit, and particularly at the moment, our days are not that varied because it's COVID and what else are we going to do? But and we're also quite dictated right now by Woody and Alfie's schedule. So yeah, that's a typical day.
that's a full-on typical day.
Yeah,
Full-time job, 2 full-time jobs, being a mum and running a successful business won't come easy. You have to put the hard yards in.
You got to put the hard yards in. You have to work hard, and you've got to give it so much commitment. And we've been doing this for 6 years. Sorry, go for it.
Would that be one of your words of wisdom for any young person out there wanting to start a business? Is to keep working hard and never give up?
Yeah, I would say. Well, I wouldn't say never give up, because there's no point in throwing good money after bad. If you see what I mean? I would say, so what would I give my words of wisdom? I would say absolutely figure out what you're trying to do. So start small first of all, and then figure out what you want your business to be. Figure out what your purpose is as your little business, and figure out what your values are. Get that core thing figured out first of all, and then just start small. Like if you're selling products or something, or if you're, I don't know, maybe you're trading stuff at home. You know, I don't think Bitcoin's a thing anymore, but if you're trading Bitcoin, whatever it is, just start small, and then build from there, because that helped you. Like we were really small. We were looking at the numbers the other day, and they were so small, and if we weren't so determined, we would have given up. But we were really, really determined, and I really backed myself. The other thing I would say is listen to your gut a little bit, because if you think something's not going well, and you probably know in your heart of hearts if it's not going well, don't keep going. Like, do not keep going. Don't keep going because of your pride. Just move on, because it's really okay to fail. Like it's very interesting, because if you're in America, it's so common to fail, and it's so much more accepted to fail. Like heaps of businesses, particularly in Silicon Valley, they start, they fail, they start, they fail. And it's really accepted that actually you don't have a successful business until you've failed multiple times.
Like Donald Trump went bankrupt twice as well. He's now president.
Started on him. I think, what is it? He has, because he inherited his money. What is it? He's got less money now, even though he inherited it. Oh my God.
I just had to get that little bit in there.
Oh man, you got it in. Yeah, so look, I think probably here, definitely here, and probably the UK as well, it's not as accepted to fail. So, but I think it's like just look at it as a learning and move on and go and do the next thing.
Definitely accept failure. Have you? You don't have to, because it might bring back some bad memories. But have you ever failed in your business pursuits before?
Hey, look, before Flora Fauna, because I was wanting to do something, and I was going to, I'm not even sure if you know this, I
was that the right, continue.
Is it the juice cleanse?
The juice one, and you had all the cups and
yeah. So I came up with an idea, because I love my detoxes and all that kind of stuff, and I came up with an idea of the juice cleanse, and I've still got the URL and everything else. And I was like, that is a great idea. And we're going to do juice cleanses. And what we'll do is we'll make the juice here and then we'll go and send them out and blah, 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 blah. Anyhow, I got the logo done. I got, all the bottles made, the packaging, blah, 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 blah. And then I kind of started making the juice, and I actually realized I was really bad at making juice. And then it's a really capital intensive business. So to make juice, you need to have a commercial kitchen to do so, which we would have had to have got built here, which would have cost us a fortune. You also then look at the business and you go, okay, health and safety. There's a massive, massive problem with juice cleanse businesses because there's certain ingredients like watermelon that you can't use because it's a massive health and safety issue with using watermelon in juice. But actually,
what's that?
Oh, there's something around the stability of it. But it's a really great ingredient to use because it's so much water. So you can get a lot of juice from it. But it's compared to say like an apple or something. So the health and safety issue is a problem. And then and then I went, oh, hang on a minute. When are we you kind of have to deliver it. So the logistics becomes a problem. Yeah. Because you can't send it with Aussie Post. You've got to go and deliver it in cold storage or whatever, in a cold vehicle. So then that becomes a problem. And then you look at the market and you go, well, my market's actually really small because you can only deliver with a certain area. And so all of these things, once I was going along with this and I'm going, I was so excited about it, but I just went, I'm just not sure this is going to work. And I remember saying to Tom, I was like, I think we should stop before we even get properly started with this. I just don't think, I think we're going to be pushing good money after bad on this one. And this is one where I think it's okay because I told a few people about it as well. I was like, I'm really excited. We're going to do this juice cleanse business, blah, blah, blah. I was really excited about it and told a few people about it. And then you go, actually, I shouldn't do this. So I would say it wasn't necessarily a failure. It's just something that I was kind of started going on and I just stopped it before it got going and before I wasted too much money on it. And I'm really glad I did that. That was a really good decision. And this is where it comes to thinking everything through really carefully, but also being very honest with yourself. If you
set
don't
realistic goals.
Yeah, set realistic goals and just going, oh, God, you know what? This is not going to work. Let's not. Just because you told 20 people you're doing it doesn't mean to say you've got to keep doing it. Just stop.
So interesting because that was your gut feeling telling you not to continue on with the juice business because you knew that in yourself that this is not something you want to do. You wanted to do it, but you didn't have that determination you do have with Flora Fauna, which has now turned into, we'll say it again, the world's largest vegan store, which is that's a brilliant title to say the least. With Flora Fauna though, why vegan? Why Flora Fauna? Why did you choose vegan?
So for me, it's kind of looking at our values, and I'm going, well, because we started off with beauty. So when we started off, we had 500 products, 30 brands. We've now got close to 10,000 products, 300 brands. And when we started, we're selling lipsticks and stuff. I kind of look at it and go, why not vegan? You're putting this thing on your lips, right? And a lot of lipsticks that are out there are made with an ingredient called carmine. Now, carmine gives you a red color in your lipstick, but what it's actually made up of is crushed insects. That's what it is. I know it's gross. It's absolutely gross.
That's disgusting.
Disgusting. It's disgusting. No person in their right mind who knew that was in their lipstick would want to put that on their lips. But a lot of the big brands use it, and they put it in this ingredient called carmine. And it's really non-transparent to customers. So I look at all the products that we have and I go, but none of them need animal ingredients in them. So why do we have them? There's no need for carmine or anything else in the products we sell. So, and for our purpose, because we're a business that's really focused on people, the planet, and animals, it's just natural for us to be vegan. It fits our values, it fits my values, it fits our ethics. And I think you can absolutely run an ethical business without harming animals and with minimal impact. And I say minimal because there's always an impact with everything we do. You and I having this chat now has an impact on the planet. Exactly, it's got an impact on the planet, right? But less of an impact on the planet, and also being kind to people as well. And that comes to sourcing fairly, fair living wages, all of that sort of stuff.
So just being a community business that's very transparent with its customers. But we don't see that a lot with the big companies like Apple, Amazon. There's a lot of things that go behind closed doors. But you're quite the contrary. You're for the consumer, but also being ethical consumers, trying to make people better. Like you said multiple times before, just being better.
Yeah, I think so. And I think what a lot of big businesses have done is they've made consumers really untrusting of everything we do. Like, we are naturally non-trusting because of, oh crikey, whether it's the iPhone that we buy, or whether it is the mortgage we take out, or the phone plan that we're on, whatever it is, we go, what's the catch? What's the catch, right? And I really wanted to set up a business where there is no catch. Like, we are super honest with our customers. So if we don't think that we've got something for a customer, we'll tell them we don't have it. Equally, because and we see it particularly on social media, right, with customers going, there was one this morning actually that the team sent to me, which is something around scaremongering or stuff, because you're not in stock, you're scaremongering. It's like, no, we're literally just not in stock at the moment. Like, it's like, there was Afterpay Day the other week. We were smashed. We're just getting in stock of everything again. There's no hidden agenda here. So I think society has been cultivated into a non-trusting society, particularly of bigger business. And part of what we do is try and break that down to go, hey, look, you can trust us. And that comes to things like in our physical store in North Rocks, the back walls are all glass. So you can see straight through from the store into the warehouse. So you can see the team picking the orders, because we want that transparency. And I think that's really important. And I think all businesses should do that. And of course, not all businesses are going to do that, but we need more of it. We need to see where businesses' profits are going and what they pay their workers. And there's a cool retailer in the US called Everlane. I think it's Everlane anyway. And what they do is they talk about their profit. So they sell fashion, and they talk about, okay, the price of the material for that t-shirt is X. We pay the worker Y, and then the profit we make is Z, and the transport is this and this. And so it's basically broken down in terms of the profits that they make. So it's super, super transparent. And I kind of go, that's cool. That's, we just need a bit more of that.
Transparency is key. It is key. It generates trust, and trust is a very sacred thing between each other. We need to build that. So you're building an ethical, trustworthy, transparent relationship with your consumers, which therefore has made your profit skyrocket and making your business winning all these awards from left, right, and center. Well,
I wouldn't think our profit is skyrocketing, but
it's going that way. It's going that way.
It's going. We're a bit different, because with the profit that we get, we actually. So I look at us. How I describe us as a platform for purpose. So we use our reach, we use our engagement, and we use our profit to do better things. So we have a really cool recycling program where you can send, as a consumer, you can send your beauty. I'm picking this up, this packaging. There you go, packaging back to us plastic packaging back to us, and we get that recycled, and then we give you $10 for recycling it with us. And we can put that, and it costs us this program costs us a fortune, but we can do that because I think it's really important as a business that we close the loop in terms of the stuff we sell. And therefore we're using some of our profits to fund that program. So being that platform for purpose means we can do that. We can do stuff like support local charities. So we support a very cool one called Where Pigs Fly, which is up in the Hunter Valley. And we know the money also goes straight to them. It's not going into admin fees or blah, blah, blah. It's going straight to the animals who need the food, who've been rescued. Yeah. We carbon offset every order. So we can do some cool stuff with the profits we get. So therefore, as a business, we're not focused on making huge profits. We want to be profitable. We certainly don't want to be non-profitable. We want to be profitable, but we're not interested in making those crazy profits that maybe some other businesses are.
Yeah, and you're donating those profits back into charitable causes that you will see your purpose of Flora and Fauna drastically change the community around you.
Yeah. It's, we've done a bit with Down Syndrome Association. That's one of the cool things about owning your own business, actually, because you can make some really good calls in terms of, or you can make some calls that are very important to you. So when we had Woody and our little baby has Down syndrome, then I said, well, I want to do something. I want to use our reach and our engagement to do something with Down syndrome. So we donate some of our, we've done a few things where we've donated some of our profits to Down Syndrome Australia. And that's one of the great things you can do as an independently owned business. You can make those choices and do some good stuff that way.
Good. And you didn't have to worry about shareholders and the stock pricing dropping when you're keeping it independent. Exactly. Is there any plans for going on the market, on the stock exchange, or is it always going to be independent?
I mean, never say never, right, Elliot? But that's certainly not a focus for us. I wouldn't have that much interest in doing that myself. So, I think we can do a lot being privately owned, and we can, as soon as you've got to take into account shareholders and things and all that sort of stuff, it just puts. It stops you in your stride a little bit. It just makes it a bit harder. Not impossible at all.
Just a lot harder to appease everyone.
Yeah, and you look at some cool, like Afterpay. That's a listed company, and that's doing cool stuff. But I mean, it's different because they're a financial institution basically, but they're still growing really quickly and doing some cool stuff. So, yeah, not for me, but.
Did you have any? What are your future aspirations for Flora and Fauna? What's one of the goals you're visualizing that you want to reach?
Oh, look, we're the world's largest vegan store, right? I want us to be the world's largest vegan store. So we've got to go global. That's a big one for me. I think there is a great opportunity to do that, and I think it's that really sings to my purpose. And so I'd love to do that. I'd love to, I love building a team, really, really enjoy building a team. We're recruiting for a buyer at the moment, and it's been great sort of interviewing people and seeing who could really fit into our team when it comes to values. And it's really lovely working with my team when I see them just coming into their own a little bit, really. And really, just taking things on themselves and running with it without, just really owning what they do. So for me, it's just kind of getting bigger, and by default, in terms of getting bigger, it means we can do more. So we can be more impactful in what we do. I'm very vocal in the retail industry. Whether people like it or not, I am. And And I think it's very, very important. We've launched a few initiatives this year, about packaging. And I think it's really important that the retail industry as a whole gets better. They need to get more responsible. And packaging is a key one, but there's so many different elements. And I think the bigger we get, the bigger voice we get, and the more we can say to other businesses, look, come on, you need to just change your ways a bit. And that's it's got to, our purpose, I always look at it and I go, our purpose is bigger than flora and fauna, because flora and fauna on our own are not going to change things enough. It has to, but we can be a great catalyst for other businesses to change. And then we can, as a whole industry, we can do some really good stuff.
And then next thing you know, society is a better place for it.
Yeah, a little bit, at least a little bit better, right? We can, you've also got to be realistic and go, people struggle to change in general. Like, people don't like change in general, but if we can do a little bit, and if we can help people move a bit, then that's great.
And that's your full inside of you. That's getting you and time up every morning, just getting ready, getting to it, and achieving that purpose. That's truly amazing, because not a lot of people have that defined purpose in their lives to where they're willing to literally not sacrifice every little bit of their life, but sacrifice the majority of it for a cause that they deem will greatly benefit society. We need more people like yourselves doing that in the world today. So hats off to you.
Thanks, Elliot.
Pretty proud. I've got to throw this question in here. And
sure.
will you ever use artificial intelligence in your workplace, or are you using some form of it at the moment?
Oh, well, we kind of do already, because it's in more. You did something. You did a podcast on that this week, didn't you?
Did indeed.
Yeah. I didn't watch it. Hey, look, it's in more things than you'd think. So, where do we use it? So the only place that we really use it is in things like, when you kind of see, and we haven't put this in yet, but we're just about to. You can see at the bottom of it, if you go on a product page and you see at the bottom and it goes, you might also like these products.
Yeah.
That uses a bit of AI to really figure out what those products should be. So, yes, we use it a little bit in places like that. It's not mainstream in terms of retail, but I certainly wouldn't rule it out. It's in more common things than what you'd think.
Well, the common question from that will you ever replace your team with artificial intelligent robots?
No, and you know what? Someone asked me this probably a year or so ago. Someone who was selling this stuff. And said, we can get your customer care team to be effectively, AI can answer most of the questions of customer care. And I just went, nah, they can't.
Big no.
Big no. For me, it's a big no, because I think one of the things that we have, over the years, we've lost a little bit of communication, I think, as humans. And I think one of the most valuable things that we have as a society is communication. And if COVID's taught us anything, it's that. And so many of us miss people. Like, I miss mum and dad terribly. And it's not necessarily that they would have been over here. It's just knowing that they can't come over here. And I think it's just such a great tool we have. And so when customers phone us up or talk to us, I want them to be talking to a real human.
Yeah.
I don't want them to be talking to a robot, basically. So I absolutely think AI has a place in certain elements, but when it comes to communicating with somebody, for me, and I'm not all businesses at all, but for me, then I think, I want a human on the end of that call.
And that promotes transparency within the business, and customers will then trust it a lot more. Because there's nothing worse when you're getting called, you're calling up a customer service support line, and it's just a robot giving you the answers when you literally just want a human to answer those questions for you. It's nothing worse than that. I think that.
So frustrating. It's we really pride ourselves in our customer service. Like, we answer calls really, really quickly. And also, it's not just down to the customer care team. So if the customer care team are answering the calls, but they're not there, then I pick up, or someone else picks up, or whoever's there picks up the phone. Like, none of us are afraid to pick that phone up. And there's emails, and there's live chat, and there's all that other, there's so many different ways, there's social media, there's so many different ways we talk to our customers. For me, it's got to be someone on the end from Flora and Fauna who can help them make a decision right there and then, not a robot. But it's different for every business. Like Amazon, they use AI, of course they do, but it's different for every business. And again, it comes back to that purpose and what you're driven by. Someone said to us not so long ago, because we do a handwritten note on every box. Yeah. And we've done like 500,000 more of them now. We've done heaps. And someone said to us, "Why do you still do the handwritten note? You should get a robot to do that." And I was like, "Well, no, but that goes completely against why we write a handwritten note. Like, it's just not authentic. It doesn't speak to our values." So I would rather not write a note than get a robot to write a note.
Yeah,
but that's just me.
And people love it more. And like you said earlier, previously in this podcast, is that you want people to relate to it. And by writing those handwritten notes down, people are just going to open those up and be like, geez, they generally care about us. And yeah, it just makes them gives them a good feeling, doesn't it?
It does. It's a way, when you're shopping online, it can be really transactional. And that's often the nature of it. But with us writing a little note, it gives us and the person who's packing that order a connection to the person who's opening that order. It's that connection piece. And that's the powerful thing that us humans have as a society.
It's connecting to one another. And about human society, is there any future worries in your mind for future generations that you would like everyone to know about? Or what's your worries for the future, for our future generations, that you'd like to see solved?
I think, so I look at my kids, right? I think there's a few things that we need to get better at as society. One is the impact we have on the planet. We are a very, very wasteful society. And to be quite frank, through no fault of our own, this is down to organizations thrusting stuff at us. We've all grown up watching the TV where there's ads going, buy this, buy this, buy this, and it's all very disposable. Yeah. When I was a baby, I was, your mum and I were put in cloth nappies. That's just what it was, because people couldn't afford disposable nappies because they were so expensive. And they're also really new. So most people had terry cloth nappies. Now that's only 40 years ago. And I use reusable nappies on Woody and Alfie. Super easy to use. They're quite different to the ones that Mum used on me. These ones are actually really good. They're cute. They're waterproof, all that sort of stuff. But in the last 40 years, we've got such a huge focus on plastic. And again, plastic has its purpose. Medically, very important in some elements. But when you're using it to house water that you get out of the tap, or when you're using it to create a nappy to put on your baby's bum that is used for maybe a few hours and then it's thrown away and it goes into landfill and it lasts 500 years, that's not a good use of plastic. So that, I think, is a huge issue that we need to focus on as a world, which is our just overconsumption and overuse of stuff. And we need to get better at it, because we used to be pretty good at it and then we got really bad at it, and we need to get better again. And I think when we got really bad at it, the government didn't catch up. So we don't have, like, if you go to Germany, they've got really decent waste disposal things. We don't. So pretty much anything that we chuck out goes into landfill, because we're very bad at recycling. And we don't have any industrial composting, not much anyway, around Australia. Yeah. So other countries are better at it, but we're not. So I think that's a massive concern, is just how we're treating our planet. One of the benefits of COVID is the fact that
people are moving less, so the carbon emissions reduced. That I know that so many jobs have been lost. So it's so horrific on so many levels. But one of the things that has kind of benefited is our planet from just the lack of movement of us. So I think that's a big issue for us. And then I think we just need to get better at diversity in general. And I think about this in so many realms. Of course, there's gender, there's race, so many other things, sexual orientation. And then the thing that I really worry about for Woody particularly is abilities. And I want us as a society to be far more accommodating of people with all kinds of different abilities. And something we do at FNF is we recruit people who have different abilities. So whether that's hearing or learning differences or whatever it is. And I'm really proud that we do that, because these are people in society, particularly at the moment, who aren't getting a break. Because society kind of views them as a little bit broken. And we need to get better at that. So those are kind of two things which I just think we've got to get better at, being a diverse society. Yeah, got to get better at it. Got to get more accepting of different kinds of people, and we have to let go of the conscious or unconscious bias and prejudice that we have.
It's still quite prevalent in society today, and luckily you're focusing on that as one of your purposes in Flora and Fauna. It's increasing that diversity, but also increasing that connection to people with different abilities and making them stronger within themselves to then take those abilities and further better themselves in their life pursuits.
Yeah. And one thing I would say, which I think is really important, is when people recruit, they often just go, who's the best candidate? Who's the best candidate? Who's the best candidate? And they bring in the best candidate, but they don't often think about the team mix. So as a result, you can have a team that's a bit disjointed.
Yeah.
When you recruit a really diverse team, you have a really cool functioning team, because you've got so many different people with bringing different types of experiences and behaviors and personalities and so on and so forth. And I think it's really important that we do have people from different backgrounds, different abilities, different genders. It's important to have that mix.
Have that mix, because our differences is what makes us stronger. If we get to understand people's differences, we can then grow as a collective and make society a better place, which is what you're doing at the moment. Which is
trying to.
Well, it's
yeah.
Well, it's
Go for it.
It's hard to. When you probably first started Flora and Fauna, did you ever get the feeling that the purpose that you're pursuing was futile and a sense of quite impossible? Or did you always have that belief that it's always possible?
Always have the belief.
Always have the belief.
Yeah, I back myself a lot in terms of I think I'm very positive. Yeah. And so I kind of go, no, we can do that. We can absolutely do that. As I was saying, here's a little quote for you. So I was saying this to someone yesterday. So as you know, I like my skiing. And if you go skiing through trees, when you're skiing through trees, if you look at the trees, you'll hit the trees. If anyone's watching this and has skied, they'll know what I mean. If you're skiing through trees and you look at the trees, you're going to hit the trees because you're focusing on the tree. If you're skiing through trees and you look at the white powder, then you find your way through, and you're looking at the good stuff. You find your way through, and you end up in a really great. You end out the other side. You end up in a really good place. So when you're doing something, you need to look at the positives in it. Don't look at the hurdles. Don't focus on the hurdles, because if you're focusing on the hurdles, you're not focusing on where you're trying to get to. So I'm always really, really positive and focused on where are we trying to go, and And I've always really believed that we can get there. And I kind of go, if I didn't feel like we could get there, I wouldn't have started it. Because
that goes back to your gut feeling, like you said before. If you don't have, if your gut feeling is telling you don't pursue something, then don't pursue it. Because 9 times out of 10, that gut feeling's trying to save your life.
Yeah. I go with my gut on so many different things, and I think it's really important. I think it's really important for me. I listen to my gut a lot, and I just know. I just go, yeah, that's the right decision to make, and it's kind of just a feeling, and you kind of get it, and you know. So I definitely think it's an important part of decision making.
Well, I know you're a very busy lady, and you've got 2 children and a husband to look after.
Oh, I don't. Okay, it's all good.
Is there any concluding statements you'd like to tell the audience today about Flora and Fauna, or trying to appeal to a younger audience?
I think for the younger audience, for anyone to be honest who's watching, if you've got an idea, go and do it. Like go and research it. Go and do it. We're all here on this planet to do something, to make a difference in some way, whatever that way is. So don't hold back. And you might feel uncomfortable doing stuff. That's okay. It's okay to be uncomfortable, but go out there and give something a try. Like just push the boundaries a bit.
That's exactly what you're doing, Flora and Fauna, is pushing the boundaries and grabbing life's horns and taking control.
Absolutely. Trying to do that.
Well, thank you for everyone for tuning in today. So I'm just going to restate, we had Julie Mathers. Of course, she's my auntie as well, but she also is the CEO of Flora and Fauna, the world's largest vegan store, and also is the Modista Woman to Watch Innovation Award 2017, and it's the #1 top 50 e-commerce person in 2019 for Australia. That is big accolades, but the most out of this podcast, the things to look at is that to never give up, trust your gut feelings, your instincts, positivity, visualize your goals, always define a purpose, manage your cash flow wisely as a business, and always just be transparent and create a positive team. And so thank you, Julie, for coming on today. We really appreciate having you on Matherspolitico.
Thanks, Elliot. I've loved being on. It's good to talk to you. We've talked for an hour about this. It's pretty impressive. I know. And no, I've really enjoyed it. So thank you. Thanks for having me.
That's all good.